Okay, well, I think we're live. Oh, my audio looks like it's peaking real bad. Maybe I should turn that down. Can I get an audio check? We sound good. Are we clipping at all while I'm talking? I can turn that down if I need to. Once we get audio figured out, we'll jump into the rest of everything else. I just feel like there's possibly a little clipping at the top end of this, and I want to get that fixed. All right, SV Peters, no clipping, no clipping. Okay, good. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for confirming that. I appreciate it. Hope you're all doing well this Saturday. It looks like we've got some people from overseas. So Saturday afternoon or early evening for some of you, but almost 10 o'clock in the morning for me here in Colorado. Excuse me, I've been still getting over this thing. I've been sick for like a month and a half, just enough sick to piss me off so I don't feel like doing anything, but not sick enough to actually keep me from doing much. Super frustrating level of sick. If it would just be real bad for a couple of days and get over it, I'd be much, much happier. So, yeah, so cool. 5 o'clock here, around 6 o'clock here in Denmark. Well, cool. I'm glad you guys are 8 p.m. in Sweden. Jeez. Now, I guess, see, this is my American coming out. I didn't realize Denmark and Sweden were in like that far apart from time zones. That's crazy. Well, thank you guys for hanging out with me on your Saturday evening. Much appreciated. Hope you're all doing well leading into the week of Christmas, if that's your thing. We celebrate more out of habit than anything these days, but we still manage to get all of the stress associated with it. Oh, you meant 6 p.m. Okay. Okay, that makes way more sense. Thank you for clarifying. I was super confused, but yeah. Always glad to have you guys here hanging out with me for a little while. Don't know how long we're going to do this today. As I mentioned, and you guys obviously know, it's the week leading up to almost said Thanksgiving, Christmas. And still got some stuff to get done and that sort of stuff around the house, just getting ready for everybody to come over this week. And yeah, so oh, let's see what we have over here. So there are isn't it the 12-hour stream? I think I got a memo about it, bro. If I could. Like I would absolutely love to do a stream like that at some point. I think the longest stream I've done is like 4 hours, 24-hour stream. Man, I don't know if I have that kind of intestinal fortitude. I don't think that I have the ability to do a 24-hour stream. I rely on my sleep, but if I don't get my sleep, I get cranky and I get sick and I don't like it. So there's sorry, I was actually looking over here in my dashboard to see if I could sort by like length of play or length of live stream. I can't find that, but a lot of tea and it should be possible. I think a lot of coffee in that case. Well, I was looking over here to see if I could sort by length of live stream. There's somebody has disliked the live stream, which fine, whatever, it happens, not a big deal. But I find it amusing that there's one person that I think is likely the culprit, though I'm not sure what happened. They were popular in the Discord for a while, and then one day just started going off on me out of the blue. For some reason I'm not entirely sure of. But since then, when my videos get disliked, and it happens from time to time, sometimes it'll just be one. It'll be one dislike on my video. And this stream has one dislike. And I'm pretty sure I know who that person is. And I just think it's funny that after all of this time, they're still taking the time out of their day to hate follow me and go out of their way to find my new videos and dislike them, since I'm pretty sure I set it so that their comments don't show up on my channel anymore. Just one of those amusing things that I find from time to time. And again, I think I know exactly who the person is, but who knows? I might be wrong. I just find it amusing that that's how they get me. They dislike the video because it fucking matters. So anyway, we got Jason Budney, Vaz. It seems like you're living rent free in their mind. Yeah, that's kind of it, isn't it? Like, and it blows me away because they were in the Discord a lot. They were hanging out. We always had good conversations. And then just one day, just out of nowhere, boom! It was like, your content sucks. You're a terrible creator. All your stuff is stale and old. You know, who do you think you are? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the funny thing about it was that they recently, in the last year or something, started going back to school to get their degree in cybersecurity, which good on them. I think that's amazing. We need more people in cybersecurity. But as soon as they started getting into this class and doing the things and learning the things and whatever, it was like, because they were getting into cybersecurity, they just automatically were the smartest person in the room. And it always isn't the right word. Very often would make really crappy comments, criticizing people because they weren't in the same degree as him. Keep in mind, this dude's like 50, or almost 50, whatever. But it does sound like a narcissist. You're right. See, just remember that some having a boring life and too much time for doing crap things. Yeah. I think that's a big part of it. They were into some weird fringe things that are sort of not like sketchy weird, but just like we're very convinced that they had an inside track about extraterrestrial life coming to save the Earth. About every 3 to 4 months, this new bit of information would tell them they were going to come save the Earth any day now. We're just waiting for it. But they had the inside track on that information, and it is what it is, as they say. So, moving on. Sorry, excuse me. Again, I got this weird thing going on. Video this week was I thought a lot of fun. I really enjoyed the video. Kind of bummed, honestly, that this video didn't do as well as the last similar video with regards to using Home Assistant to create a dashboard to help my kid be more autonomous, and that's actually been going really, really well behind the scenes. That's just had a guy at work like that. You could have invented a brand new thing by yourself, but he'd know it better than any. Yeah. Some people are just like that. I don't get it. I genuinely don't understand these people. They've always got a story. You know, if you got in a wreck, they got in a wreck that was worse. If you had something good happen, they had something better happen. Just these one-up people, just annoying as crap. But yeah, so the video this week where I built the custom dashboard for my kid. I honestly, I figured the video would do better than it did. The one prior to that, where I built the custom dashboard for his room, and then of course the rest of the stuff in the house. But specifically for the kids' room, did like 22,000 views, and the one that released this week did like 20% of that. I was just genuinely kind of shocked that it performed so low. But really enjoying it. Like I'm really glad that I built the dashboard for him that I built. What? Weird. I don't know why. Oh, something simple for them. So, excuse me. There may be a way that you can do that, depending on what your budget is and what you want to do. Just as a bit of a heads up for you guys, since you guys are here. The folks over at Homey reached out to me this week. Let me jump over to there. Why is my stupid face not there? Damn it, come over here. Droid cam source is this one. There we go. Hi, I'm back. Basically, it's this little piece of hardware that's got that's got basically Home Assistant on it, but not Home Assistant, I guess. And this actually looks pretty simple, I think. But what's cool about this is that you don't have to necessarily get the hardware to make it work. They've actually recently, let me come back to here. Let me go to Homey. They recently did a thing where you can self-host Homey through a Docker container or a number of different ways. Let me see if I can find it. Homey self-hosted server. There we go. So I'm going to be doing a couple of videos about both the Homey Pro. They're sending one of these to me, which I'm kind of excited about. They're also, I'm also going to do some content about the self-hosted server of Homey that apparently has got a wide range of options that you can host on, and I think this is amazing. SV Peters, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. That was really nice of you. I appreciate it. Trains with Shane is here. Says good morning. Well, good morning to you, sir. Glad to have you here. But basically, you can self-host Homey. I haven't actually looked into this at all, but again, Raspberry Pi, Linux, macOS, Windows. Windows is a bit of a misnomer here. In fact, if you click this, it says, well, you can't directly host this on Windows. You can set it up in a VM on your Windows machine. So a bit of a misnomer there, but I understand why they labeled it this way. Docker, this is probably the way that we're going to take a look at it. Also, Proxmox, TrueNAS, QNAP, Synology, Unraid. So we're going to cover this as well as the Homey Pro, not in this live stream. I don't have the stuff yet. But they're sending me a Homey Pro, and then they're also sending me, apparently there's a piece of hardware that will make self-hosting it easier, which is the Homey Bridge that does Zigbee, Z-Wave, Bluetooth, and I think Matter. I think Matter might also be included in that. I could be wrong though. Infrared, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. Maybe it doesn't have that, but so anyway, that's coming up as content. Jan, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That's awesome. Thank you so much. But anyway, the reason I bring those up is because somebody had mentioned that they're going to try to, as Jan said, he's going to try to make a Home Assistant for his parents to make it simple for them. So maybe you've already got a plan for that, but it brought up the idea that, oh yeah, Homey reached out. We're going to do some content together. They're not paying me. They're just sending me some hardware to take a look at. And I'm kind of excited about that. It looks like they've already got a video about their self-hosted server, which I think is great. So that will be coming soon here on the channel as well. My take on them doing that. So didn't notice the cat showing up on sub. That's a new. No, that's actually been since I started doing I know it's been up for several months at this point. Anytime somebody subscribes or joins as a member, that little pop-up will happen up in this corner with a little text kind of below it, whatever. I didn't know what else to put there, so I found some emotes on a site that I really liked. So I paid $5 for a pack of emotes, and now when somebody donates money or subscribes, or when something happens, it pops up in this corner of the screen and just kind of does a little thing. So yeah, it's been there for a little while. But yeah. So what else? What else we got going on? Yeah, kind of Twitch, and that was kind of what I was going for, because when I originally started doing that, I was dual streaming to both YouTube and Twitch, but it just turned out that Twitch wasn't. Dual streaming wasn't worth the amount of effort and headache that it was causing me, which wasn't much. But overall, like the style of live streams that I do just don't resonate with Twitch. I know it makes it easier for some people in the community to watch live streams over there. Why? Sorry, I don't know what's going on. For some reason, the YouTube is being real aggressive with messages this morning. Anyway, so yeah, Twitch just wasn't worth the effort. Like with doing the live streams, just here on YouTube. Guess I should back up. I was using a different app to stream at the time, and the app made it so that I could dual stream for free. Made it very, very easy. The problem was that I couldn't schedule the live stream on YouTube and then connect to it. So like my live streams were always just kind of spontaneous on YouTube, and I hated that. I talked to them about it. They're like, we can't give you an update as far as when that's going to happen. We're not going to commit to a timeline on that. So that was kind of a bummer, and I didn't want to. I'm cheap. That's what it boils down to. I didn't want to pay for a third party service like Restream or whatever that would facilitate that. So anyway, I ended up going back to just doing the streams this way, just on YouTube, because sorry, I got an itch, man. Because the channel wasn't growing on Twitch. I wasn't getting much interaction on Twitch. I was making a little money, like $30 a month or something from Twitch, which is fine. It just, the amount of effort I was having to put in and take away from YouTube wasn't really worth it for me. So went back to just solo streaming here on YouTube, but still kept some of the Twitch-like elements just because I'm lazy, if I'm being completely honest. I like having little animations and that sort of thing. So, wow, that's way behind. Peter says, good morning from Montreal. Trust that you're having a fine Saturday. Are you fighting a cold? I'm fighting something, man. I have been for like 6 weeks. It's been just, like I said earlier, it's just been just enough to piss me off and not enough to actually take me out. So I've just kind of felt like crap for 6 weeks. So I've been trying to fight through it. Been doing like NyQuil and Dayquil and Tylenol and the stuff that I can take with my medical stuff going on. Yep, flu shot, absolutely. Still, I've got a compromised immune system, so certain things don't work as well for me as well as it should. So homie is a homie. Yeah, kind of. I think that's kind of where they came up with the idea. Thought it was a good idea. I dig it. I'm excited to try out the hardware. Cypher says, dude, my my office got taken out by the cold. Each department is falling like dominoes. I believe it. It was actually the flu in 2016 that took me out for 6 months, put me in the hospital 6 months, 4 comas, two tracheotomies, lung biopsy, kidney biopsy, liver biopsy, all kinds of, it was brutal. So yeah, no, I'm very, very conscious of being careful when it comes to the cold and flu season. But it's hard when you've got a kid who isn't conscious of that kind of stuff and will get right here and cough directly in your face. So can't really get out of that sometimes, you know? You got some weird flu strains out there right now. Sometimes take way longer to pass. I've seen similar things in different reports and news posts and that sort of thing. Oh, thank you for donating 5 gift memberships. That's really cool. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I love the community that we're building here, and not just because it makes a little bit of money for me, but because you guys are sharing the early access to things, and you're giving those little perks to other people, and I appreciate that. Yeah, Schrodinger's coffee cup, well spotted. Yep. So he's there, and then there's that, and then there's that. Yep. And it's square. It's a square coffee cup. So this is like the perfect coffee cup for me. I've had it for years. Probably almost 10 years now, I think. Probably my favorite coffee cup. When I was getting my coffee this morning, I deliberately picked this because I knew I was going to be out here with you guys for at least a little while. So yeah, I love it. I absolutely love it. My wife got it for me for birthday or Christmas years ago, and it's one of my favorite cups, if not my favorite. So yeah. Let's see, what do we got? So I don't know if you guys saw, apparently Watchtower was archived this week. The Watchtower, the Docker container updating application was archived this week, and it makes me sad. Let's see if I can. Nope, where did it go? And now, hold on. Docker. 9 months ago. That's the one, I think. Oh, Vaz, thank you. I appreciate that. That's you guys are just killing it this morning. Thank you so much, Peter. We've just been kind of chatting, kind of getting settled in, getting the little conversation going. I've got the self-host newsletter popped up in my browser over here, but we were just getting into container. This repository was archived by the owner December 17th, 2025. It is now read only. And this makes me sad. Like, I'm really bad about doing my updates. And even though this hasn't been updated in like 2 years, I think was the most recent, it makes me sad because I use it. I still use it because it will just notify me that there's an update. And that's all I'm looking for. I don't want anything to update for me. Excuse me, I apologize. So, developer says it's with a heavy heart and some sense of relief that I'd like to announce that we are looking to archive Watchtower. Neither Pixel nor I are big users of Docker anymore, and frankly, lost interest and time in maintaining the project. There are a few forks out there. Unfortunately, I know nothing about them, so I can't really vouch for their legitimacy. If you want to continue using Watchtower, please assess them for yourself without switching. A few of the active folks I've looked at are full of AI slop, and while they might work, I don't advise using them. With that said, the separate Shouter project will remain active for the time being. Thank you for this time and for showing such an overwhelming amount of interest in the project. It's been a fun ride. And this makes me sad because I genuinely use it all of the time. And the thing that I actually really like about it, let me see if I can show you what my favorite thing about it is. Proxcube. Yeah, I shouldn't be using it for security reasons, obviously, but I am. Let me see. I'm just getting logged into my Proxmox machine. Let me see if I can find. Something here. Oops. Yeah, I know. It's genuinely like one thing that I really like about it. I mean, there's a lot of things that I really like about it, but one specific thing that I really like about it, and I'm hoping that I can show you, yeah, this right here. So down here we can see all of the things that are running on this LXC, right? And we've got Cloudflare, we've got a Cloudflare tunnel, we've got Moretta, Portainer Agent, and Watchtower. I actually really need to clean up my entire infrastructure, but that's a different story. If we look here in this, we've got our name, we've got our state, quick actions, stack, image, created, whatever, right? You guys are familiar with Portainer, I'm sure. If you look at the image right here, I can look at this quickly and tell that my Cloudflare tunnel, my Moretta, and my Portainer all have updates because their image name has been scrambled. And I don't know if this was by design or what, but I love being able to log in, see this, come into here, go recreate, repull image, recreate, and here in just a little bit, hey, look, now that Docker container is updated just that quickly and easily. I didn't have to go through and look through my notifications. I was able to log in and see, oh, these need to be updated. So again, recreate, repull, recreate, give it a minute, and then it's done. And I can just do my updates that way. And I know it's a little thing, but it made my life so easy. So I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to do this because I don't know what they're gonna do with that container image. It looks like it's being pulled from the official repository. So I don't know. I'll figure something out. I actually had a comment. So Tech Guy Lance says I switched to Tugtainer. I actually got a comment on my Tugtainer video, I think yesterday, if I can find it. Yeah, from Zevius70 says stops and restarts all containers, not just the ones being updated. Just a note in case it hasn't been mentioned. I didn't experience that, but so Lance, you said that you switched to Tugtainer. Have you noticed that same issue? I'll bring this over here so that you can see it. Oops. Oh, geez. Yeah, right here. Stops and restarts all containers. says, and not just the one being updated. Have you noticed that for yourself, Lance? I'm just curious. Because I hadn't noticed that, but my testing wasn't actually in production. I never do my testing in production unless I do my testing in production. But I was wondering if anybody else has seen. No, that's not a thing. I didn't think it was a thing. So I was just wondering if maybe this particular user had misconfigured something. You haven't noticed that? Okay, so neither of you guys. Okay, I'm glad to know that you haven't noticed that, because I got to figure something else out, obviously. You just haven't notified. Yeah, I should probably do something different. But because of the way I've built my infrastructure, I've overcomplicated it to keep things simple. If you look here, in fact, that one can go away. Each one of these LXCs in Proxmox is a different service, except for these two down there. Those are multiple services that I just kind of dropped in. Ansible semaphore, that one's full, man. Which I just need to get rid of this one anyway, because I don't use Ansible or semaphore for my setup. So, Jason Buddy says, I want to do something just to notify me of updates using a mess of feeds right now. Not perfect. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do here. My test environment is my production. I just make a backup and let it fly. I like to live dangerously. Mostly I can't be bothered to spin up another host or guest. Yeah, I get that. I've got a machine over here. Maybe I finally put it in the rack. I don't remember. That's got a decent little amount of power in it, so that I can kind of keep them separate. That said, yesterday, so my wife and I go shopping every Friday. We do our grocery shopping on Fridays for the next week. It's something we've done for a long time. And every once in a while, she'll be making her list, or we keep a little tablet thing, paper tablet on the refrigerator. And when something gets used up, we write on the tablet to let us know. But there's been a couple of times where we'll forget the shopping list on the refrigerator, on the table, on the desk, whatever, right? We both got crap handwriting. That's the other problem. So sometimes we will write something on the shopping list and neither one of us can figure out what we wrote. So I've been looking at, in fact, it was in the thing from it was in the Self-House newsletter, as far as the shopping list thing. Let's see if I can find it. Coffin. I think that's how it's pronounced. It's Coffin. Koffan. And look, this guy has pictures. I love that. And it's just this. It's just this simple. That's all it is. It's very, very easy to use. I'm actually going to make a video on it this week, because there's some quirks with it that I think people should know about. It's nothing bad. It's just some quirks that I noticed that I want to help people with. So I'm going to spin this up. But anyway, so I tried to spin, that's where I was headed with this. So I was trying to spin this shopping list app up on my production server, and it kept throwing errors at me. And one of the recent posts on Proxmox's forums was like, yeah, that happens sometimes. You need to update to the newest version. It's been fixed. So so I ended up spending a good chunk of yesterday updating Proxmox to the new version, because I thought I was still on my test server. And then I realized once I had started the update, it's like, oh crap, that's my production server. Oh crap. And then everything ended up being fine. It went through, no problems whatsoever. But there was like an hour where I was clenched pretty tight, you know? Shane says, thanks to the prevalence of electronic devices in my life, you can't read my handwriting without a Rosetta Stone and a Ouija board. That's pretty funny. Do the same one Docker container app / app inside an LXC. Yeah, it makes me feel better that, if LinkStack, it gets compromised, or if LinkStack gets screwed up, I don't have to worry about trying to roll back to a previous version on all of my different containers over here. I just don't want to deal with it. So each one gets its own LXC. Harsh Shaw D5V. We're not going to do any kind of troubleshooting and tech support here on the live stream. I would advise you to go to the Nginx proxy manager, GitHub repository, and let them know that you're having a problem. I haven't used Nginx proxy manager in years, just because I was having a real bad issue with it, and I reported. I was like, hey, I'm having this issue, and since then, lots of people have also reported the same issue, and the developer has just ignored it for long enough that just the other day it finally shut itself down on GitHub because it hadn't been addressed. So yeah, D5V, you're gonna have to go talk to them about that. I haven't used it in years. I don't know what to tell you. Shane says, I've very much considered splitting out a lot of my containers from mostly a single Ubuntu VM to separate LXD stacks. Yeah, again, when I switched to Proxmox, that was the approach that I took almost immediately. Just because again, as I mentioned in my most recent Home Assistant Plex video thing, I have a lot of dumb brain days. And if I don't remember how I did something, I don't want to try to go into the backups and restore that one file from the backup, because it'll be my luck that I'll crash the whole system. So each service gets its own setup, because it just makes things so much easier to restore if I need to. So yeah, I've been doing that, gosh, for years. In fact, I wonder if I come over to here, when did I do this? Rationale. That was a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. Weird. Yeah, so in fact, I made that video, was it May of last year? Is that what that's? Yeah, May 1st of last year, on this LXCs versus VMs. Why did I go that route? Where I explained it, and I've had a lot of comments on there that tried to tell me that my rationale was wrong, and that basically I'm an idiot for doing things the way that makes me comfortable with my setup. And I don't understand. I still don't understand the elitism that happens in these communities. It's genuinely one of my biggest frustrations. And look, I know it's not just the self-hosting community, but the amount of elitism that we see from users, when we talk about, well, I deployed this Docker container this way. Well, why are you using Docker? Docker's stupid. You're stupid. Everybody who uses Docker is stupid. And it's like, I only deploy on bare metal. Well, cool. How many bare metal servers are you running? Because that's your thing. I think you're stupid for doing that. So anyway, it's just that I don't understand why people find it necessary to talk down to other people because they didn't do things the way they would have done them. It genuinely doesn't make sense to me. But it's something that I've noticed over the years, and it still bothers me even after almost 6 years of doing this. Major Proxmox updates are always nerve-wracking. Yeah. I feel like I got very, very fortunate again. And luckily, I run backups of my entire server every day. I say that's not true. I'm lying to you. I don't back up my TrueNAS VM via Proxmox. I need to. All of my containers. Let me put some thought into how I'm going to say this. Basically, everything from here up, it gets updated every day. Sorry, backed up every day to my big Synology, and then my big Synology once a week backs up to somewhere else. And I'm actually working with a company that's offsite backups. They reached out to me recently, and I ran into some issues, and I was like, hey, I ran into this issue, but here's how to fix it. So they're actually implementing my fix. So I knew if something had gone wrong that I would be able to restore all of this. But again, even that's no fun. I didn't want to do that either. But sometimes you got to do what you don't want to do when things go bad. I also want to know how to create a local DNS for my Homelab services. My router doesn't have anything where I can put records. Then get a different router. Like if you can't go into, you should be able to go into your like IP configuration, into like your I think it's in your DHCP settings. You should be able to, in theory, change your DNS to something else. Unless your ISP has said, screw you, you'll do what we want. You should be able to do that. Or you could go to each individual device and set the DNS manually if you want to go that route. But the easiest way, if you're using your ISP's router modem combo thing that I have hated forever, then get yourself a cheap router, and plug your router into that, and then use that router as your actual router for all of your stuff, and forego all of the ISP stuff. And then you can set your DNS on that router. But yeah, if you can't set your DNS, then you should do something. Oh, so I've never actually experienced that. Even when I was like on Comcast, Xfinity, whatever, I was able to set my DNS. That said, I also only used my Xfinity router for about a month because I wanted to do other things that I couldn't do with that. So I guess it's possible. With the new updates, is the Nginx Proxy Manager okay now? I don't know. I haven't used it in years. So I would be curious, but I don't have any use for it. The elitism plagues a bunch of IT-related forums and chats. I think it stems more from the sociological background. There's common with IT types, aka Sheldon Cooper types, smart, poor social skills. Possibly. But yeah, just like if you don't do it my way, then why are you talking to me? Is so prevalent that it just cool. Go back to your mom's basement. If we want to stick with stereotypes, then go back to your mom's basement, and and get Cheeto dust all over your keyboard, and probably your private parts as well. So I'm just disgusted that people are like that. I get comments like that sometimes. That just there's been a couple of them that I have. That have been like, oh, well, you should do it this way or that way. And I'm like, cool, that's not how it works in my family, or with my family, with my setup, with my thing. Like, I'm glad you figured something out for you, but I'm not going to switch up everything that I've spent the last however long buildings to match your needs when you've never been to my house. Like, why should I accommodate you? I don't get it. I like that I can share my iGPU with multiple LXCs and still have video out of the Proxmox host. That's pretty cool. I wish I could back up my entire personal and work crap every day. Only back up critical stuff once per week. Still, the backup takes ages. The full backup would be 1.7 petabytes. Yeah, I'm not that. So when I say backup, I want to be clear. When I say backup, I'm just backing up the LXCs. So like if we look, this has got just 10 gigs, 16 gigs. I don't know why Tianji is using that much boot disk. That's crazy. So like each one of these is only like, let's call them 20 gigs a piece. Like when you get into like Plex, that's different. It's a little different anyway. TrueNAS is also, this is a lie, because I've got 32 terabytes passed through to that. But most of these are, like call it 16 gigs for the most part, 32, 16. So all of these LXCs and VMs get backed up basically every night, and then once a week, that gets backed up to a different device. So yeah, I'm not moving petabytes of data. And these backups are like incremental, so it doesn't take that much to do. But it works for me. I can't imagine having 1.7 petabytes of anything. 30, 60, 90. I think I've got maybe 100 gigs of storage available to me pre-formatting. Like that's before file systems on them. But yeah, again, I can't. I would love to just see a petabyte on my network at some point. But I think the likelihood of that is very, very slim. Having your own router is key if you can do that. Absolutely. When my router died, Frontier wanted to swap out the old router with this Fisher Price Eero piece of junk. Yeah. Like, and I've tested Eero stuff, and it's fine. But ultimately, like, and that's one of the big frustrations that I have when I see these mesh network setups, is that they'll have like one, maybe two, sometimes three RJ45 jacks in them. So then you got to break that out into a switch or a hub or whatever, and it ends up complicating things more than anything else, and that's super frustrating. So I don't like to use the stuff that's provided by the ISP. In fact, when I got fiber 2 or 3 years ago, the tech, it was like a multi-day process. One person or one team had to come like drop the fiber in and run it through the ground and bring it up to the house, and another guy had to come in and actually install it. It took days for them to get this done, which was whatever. But like when the guy came in to help me get it set up, like inside on everything, I was like, dude, just put it in bridged mode. I will plug it in and I will handle the security on my side. Just make sure that it's in bridged mode, and I'll take care of it from there. And I've never had an issue with it since. I don't even think I've had any downtime I don't think I've had an outage on my internet since I got fiber almost 3 years ago. But when I was on Xfinity, I was having outages almost every day sometimes. Super frustrating. So I'm a big fan of fiber. Required cloud access and only could access it via the phone app. Had horrible options. It's just not going to work. Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing, right? Like, if I can only administer the device via an app on my phone, I'm not interested. Like, it's one thing to have to set it up via your phone. It's whatever. I still hate it, but it's whatever, right? Because they connect via Bluetooth and do the thing. But if you can only consistently manage a network device on your phone, I'm not interested. I had a company reach out to me earlier this summer. I guess it was later in the summer anyway, to review their device, and they sent it to me, and I looked at it and I was like, oh, like I can only administer this from my phone and only if my internet is up. Because if you want to have local access, you have to have a pre-configured key that's only good for a short amount of time. But if I can't access it on the internet, then I can't generate that key. It was the dumbest thing. And this is enterprise level stuff. And that was how they managed. And it was just like, bro, are you kidding? Like, I can't do that. Like, I can't even promote the product if that's how you're going to handle it. I have to access it on my phone, huh? Nope, I'm out. The older segment router, honestly, very good, decent control granularity. Said otherwise, have to put something running OpenSense or something. Yeah. I can't imagine like using an ISP modem if I didn't have to. Some routers can only be accessed by the ISP. I'm not necessarily surprised by that. I haven't encountered that myself, but I guess I'm not surprised by that because look, the average person never logs into their router. Like we are part of a small group in the grand scheme of things that log into our router periodically to change a setting. Most everybody just they never change the password from what it says on the back of the device when they get it. Yeah, you can usually find the admin password for them. My home link was the same. The password is plastered all over the place online. Yeah, and that blows my mind that these internet companies are doing that. I don't understand. Yeah, my router is bridged and I run my own OpenSense and Proxmox. I've always wondered about virtualizing something like OpenSense. Like I've always been curious about how that works. Because in my brain, and I think we talked about this a few weeks ago, my brain can't process how that works. So, so good on you for having the ability to do that. I just have no idea. For the average user, they don't touch it or even know how or even need to. Internet goes down, they call tech support and rely on them. Yep. And tech support will run some tests on their end, and they'll push a button and reboot it as necessary, and then everything works. Or you could just walk over and unplug it, wait 10 seconds and plug it back in, and probably get the same thing done with less headache than waiting on tech support for 20 minutes because everybody's calling about the exact same issue. That says the professional link I got now, symmetrical 10 gig. Just had to call them and they gave me admin access. That's good. I'm glad that you're able to get them to do that. I actually am unable to log into my my fiber box because it's in bridge mode. Even if I plug directly into it and it gives me, what my upstream IP address is, the .1 or whatever, try to go to that IP address and it just doesn't work. It just doesn't load. So in order to do that, I'll have to do a factory reset on it to get back into it. But I'm not going to do that either because that just doesn't sound like a good time. And it'll change my IP address again. I'm one of the things that I actually liked about Xfinity is while they didn't technically give you a dedicated IP address, when you get your IP, that's basically yours unless something weird happens. Because from what I can tell, they bind the IP address to the MAC address of your device, which is good for them from a I can't even think of what the word is. A CYA, I guess, so that they can be guaranteed that they know that was you that did the thing that you shouldn't have done online. But that's the problem that I have with my current provider is if my power goes out, of course, then I lose my internet access because it shuts down. But the power goes out, then when it reconnects, I get a new IP address, which sucks because I've got certain services that are only accessible from my home IP address. Also, an IP address that I've paid for from a VPN provider. So I have two IP addresses that certain services can be accessed from, and that's it. And that sucks sometimes, but for security reasons, I had to, Just look at the bottom of the router for the password. Yep. Yeah, most people that I know do that. I've got, family members that are basically my age, that's how they handle it. And I mean, I'm in my mid 40s. I'm not a young guy necessarily. But it's strange to me how they're, although I say that, a lot of the people that do the simple things seem to live simpler, less complex lives. And, and that's, sometimes I envy that, I bet it, cause I stress myself out with the things that I've done to myself. And if I had just gone and done something simple, probably wouldn't have had that problem. But I also wouldn't have you guys to hang out with on Saturday for a while. So, it's what's that term? Swings and roundabouts. 6 of one, a half dozen of the other. But I prefer tinkering. I like to get in and find out how things work and why things work and share that with people that will listen to me ramble for, 10 or 20 minutes in a video and then give me their opinion on what I said. Because I think probably a bit of narcissism involved in that. But yeah. So anyway, so Watchtower has been archived. No comments on this, and that genuinely surprises me that there were no comments on this post. I am genuinely shocked by that. Unless they turned comments off, I don't know. But sad to see it go. Home leagues here all have dynamic IPs. Usually the lease is 24 hours. If you reboot the equipment, you'll keep the same public IP. Some ISPs have 7-day lease, but that's rare. Yeah, like mine usually last quite a while, several months on the new ISP. But like with Xfinity or Comcast, there were a couple of times that I had to request that they swap out my IP address, because like one time I had made a video where I forgot to hide my IP, and I didn't want to deal with that. So I had to call and ask them to reassign my IP, and they're like, "We can't do that. You're going to have to get a new modem from us." And I was like, "Well, that sucks, because that means I got to go to your stupid office and deal with your idiot employees." So I ended up getting, luckily it was about that time that I got fiber and I didn't have to worry about it. So in here, if you want a static IP, you pay extra. Usually it's between 12 and 20 euros a month. I would happily pay $25 a month for a dedicated IP. I would pay that. My old ISP only changed the IP if I changed MAC. Yep, that was how Xfinity was for me. I think I'd rather the remote host services on a small cloud VM rather than expose my own network with a public IP. Yeah, and that's why I use a VPN with Pangolin for some of my stuff, and I use Cloudflare for some other stuff, so that I can swap back and forth quickly if I need to. But yeah, I try to make it so that not like if you try to like ping one of my services, you're never going to find my IP address, because I've got everything obfuscated through third-party services, and it works out real well for me. Running a fork for a while works perfectly fine. And you provided that. That's awesome. Thank you for that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take a look at this. Apparently their code is not on GitHub. So let's do hub.docker.com/r/that. Updated 13 hours ago. Okay. Would be curious to know where their code repository is. Full documentation is there. Their GitHub is, okay, they've got it. That's fine. Excuse me. So this branch is basically 1,100 commits ahead of and 1 commit behind of the official. They're doing updates regularly. I'm glad to see that. Watchtower can update your running version by pushing new images. Great. Watchtower pulled the new image. Great. It's tended to work with Homelabs, media centers, local dev environments similar. That's fine. It's recommended to use the latest version of Docker. Yeah, this version of Watchtower has been tested and supports version 1.3 and higher. However, don't be surprised if you expect unexpected behavior. If you experience unexpected behavior when attempting to use newer features on old Docker. Okay, this version auto-negotiates the API version by default. If that's explicitly set, Watchtower validates. Great. I wonder, yeah, and you can see that that was a huge spike. So it looks like a lot of people are using this, and it looks like another big spike right there. I'd be curious about how much AI is being used in this per what we were seeing over here. I'd be curious if this was one of those things. I guess I'll have to do some more research into this, but thank you for sharing this. I should be able to, in theory, just swap out that in my stack and get the new version of that. So that should work. Let's see. I like to learn how things work. My first PC I bought right, so I spent a lot of time trying to figure it out. Yeah, and I've always been like that too. Like even as a little kid, my grandparents gave me one of those old timey alarm clocks with the hammer and the 2 bells. You actually had to wind periodically. And I took that apart and mostly got it back together correctly. So that was good. But I've always loved tearing things apart just to see how they work and then see if I can put it back together. I'm just about to spin up a Pi KVM 4 Plus with an HDMI box, which wish me luck. Well, I hope that works for you. I've got a tiny pilot that I've been using for a long time and really enjoyed using that. Time to spin up a test host. Yep. Borg Swarm says, what up, DB Tech? Sitting here doing patch weekend and hanging out with DB Tech crew would be better. That's awesome. I That's really cool. I'm glad you're able to hang out while you're doing your thing. That's really cool. I need to do a bunch of updates. Like I haven't updated some of this stuff in a long time. Oh, right, because I'm not doing that. Let's, oops. Okay, yeah. So to give you an idea of how I'm doing, let me move that up on the screen a little bit. Created 2 months ago. Status 23 hours ago is because that's when I rebooted my server. But I probably haven't updated a lot of this in a long time. And I need to actually go through and update a bunch of this. Like I need to change that. So I need to do some updates one of these days. But I'm really, really lazy. I'm so lazy about doing updates when I should. Patch weekend, good luck. May the odds forever be in your favor, right? Yeah, those alarm clocks bring me back to the 80s. Yeah, and that was pretty much when it was too. I think I was 8, maybe I was like 8, so it would have been like 89. I was 7 or 8 at that time. So yeah, so it was late 80s when I was doing that. But I've always just loved tearing into things and figuring out how they work, just to see if I can make sense of it. And I've been doing that since I was a kid. What is this? Is this new stuff or old stuff? Oh, that's updates. Yeah, the only way to wake up for school. Yeah. Most Windows Server updates on the company's aging infrastructure. Rather be updating my own stuff. Yeah. At least you're getting paid for this, right? Like at least you're not, not getting paid for it. So that's something. Oh man. So I should. See, a few weeks ago, I made the video on on the Alaris One. Back, it was just over a month ago now, on November 14th. Also, one of those videos that did better than I thought it would. Like not huge numbers, but still better than I thought it would. So that's that box that's got the 5090, 24 gigs of VRAM on the GPU and 96 gigs of RAM. I managed to get Windows working on that, and that's been interesting. It's been really, really nice to be able to play or to have Windows installed on it. Yes, I know it's Windows, but I managed to get Windows up and working on it with some beta drivers. And then yesterday, the drivers finally updated for the first time. So I've got new drivers on it. I'm really excited. It works really well, except for when it doesn't, but I'm hoping the new drivers will have fixed that. So, yeah. Let's see. What do we got here? Is this new stuff or old stuff? Oh, man. So the self-host newsletter came out yesterday, as it does every Friday. Genuinely have no idea how Ethan does this so consistently week after week after week. I don't think he's missed a week in the time that I've known him, and that blows my mind. But I was going through this earlier. We were talking about Coffin, this right here, this real-time grocery list management and synchronization, which is just this. This is all it is, right? It's a shopping list, and it's easy to use. But what I found interesting about it is when I tried to deploy it, it threw an error at me that I hadn't seen on an x86 platform, I think, ever. Basically, it was like, hey, this doesn't support your version or with the processor that you've got. Basically, the Docker Compose that's in here, nope, not that one. The one that's down here, this Docker run command, right here, is only accessible on ARM-based devices. I was kind of shocked by that. I ran this and it was like, no, your processor isn't compatible. So I had to go back through and actually go I had to clone the repository and then had to modify the Docker Compose or rebuild the Docker image, modify the Docker Compose to get it to work. And that's the video that I'm going to make this week because it was weird that it didn't work. But there were also things that I needed to add to the Docker Compose in order to get it to work. And I want to cover that in this week's video. Because I think it's a cool app, and it's something that my wife and I have actually talked about using, so that we don't have to try to remember the paper. We don't have to worry about trying to read what we wrote. Just having a nice, clean, simple shopping app on here. So, but it was just interesting to run into a situation where deploying the app natively was like, no, I only work on ARM processors. I don't know that I've experienced that in a long time, especially since it wasn't explicitly stated anywhere that I could find. ARM, yeah, not even. I can't even search for it. So it's not explicitly stated in here that it's only compatible by default with ARM processors. So yeah, it was just one of those weird things that I ran into. I had to build it locally and modify the Docker Compose to get it to work. So, it is what it is, but it was just one of those interesting things that I hadn't run into before, or not in a really long time and forgotten, possibly. My girlfriend and I use Google Keep and set a list to collaborate with each other, and we just use our phones. That makes sense. We're gonna try this Coffin. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong. Let me do this, translate.google.com. We're going to detect the language. What means door in Hausa? That can't be right. I don't know. I don't know where this is, where they got the name for it. Built it because... But yeah, it doesn't actually say Ukraine. It's Ukrainian. That's good to know. That gives me. Okay, so let's switch to Ukrainian. Nope, that didn't help. I was hoping maybe that would tell me what the translation was, but it didn't. Do that, yeah. But anyway, I was hoping to find out because obviously I don't know if Coffin is correct. Maybe I should reach out to the developer and see. It's this guy. Pan salute, blocker report, follow. Not really much in the way of ways to contact him. I guess I could open an issue. Let's see what kind of issues we've got here. Melee sync, multiple instances, grocery receipt scan, dark mode I agree with, vote for features, list templates and multiple shopping lists. And this was actually opened by the developer, so it was vote for features, parse text and bulk add items. That would be kind of cool. Import, export, REST API. I actually like the developers open issues on here for enhancements, so that people can kind of know what the roadmap is. I don't see a roadmap or anything up here. So yeah, so I dig that. 138 stars, 14 forks already. That's cool. Dark mode. My poor eyes is why I need it. Yeah. Assigned, Lord Master McDuck. That's pretty funny. But it looks like it's been assigned, so I hope that happens. That'd be really cool. Because that was honestly one of my biggest complaints or whatever about it was no dark mode. But I do know that some people don't like dark mode. But just having a toggle like we've seen would be pretty neat. Also, new dashboard. Images. We do have images. Not very high res images, but images nonetheless. Open image, a new tab, maybe. Oh no, it's just super low res. That sucks. But at least we know. Coffin, translate to buy or purchase. Interesting. All right, well, cool. I'm gonna mention that in the video. I'm gonna mention that you told me that, and if it's wrong, to blame you. Just so that we're setting expectations here. I'm gonna blame you if it's wrong. But yeah, I'm surprised that this didn't pick that up. Ukrainian? Nope. Interesting. People that don't like dark mode are psychopaths. I tend to agree with that, but I will say that sometimes, depending on the way the font is rendered on a page, can make it look blurry on a dark background with light text. I've noticed that. So I can absolutely see where some people would have an issue with it, but yeah, like when I open something and it blinds me, I'm immediately less interested. So yeah, translation of coffin into English by purchase. The top of the translated coffin into English. Oh, I wonder if it was the lack of the little schwa thing on the top, or whatever that's called. Nope, that didn't change it either. Interesting. Translate from Haitian Creole to just coffin. Yeah, no, that's not right. Ukrainian coffin, nothing. Interesting. Look, I thank you for sharing that. I'm not finding it here, and I tend to get stuck on things. So I'm going to close that tab so I can't. But sometimes I have to disable the dark reader because sometimes the dark mode will mask buttons, options, etc. That's true. Bavarian. Oh. So it wasn't Ukrainian, it was Bavarian? Man. See, now I'm back here. Don't see Bavarian. Bavarian language. Huh. If use German, yeah, that's what that was kind of telling me too. Let's try German, just so I can get this out of my system. If I can remember how to spell. Coffin, suitcase. Let's try it just with the regular O. Nope. That's funny. Yeah, the thing with dark mode where it'll hide buttons and that sort of thing is very much that the developer, whoever wrote that style sheet, didn't take those particular elements into account. It happens sometimes, but it's just not good QA. Let's see, chatgpt.com, cool. No, stay logged out. I found this word and was told it meant shopping, or it meant buy or purchase. What language is it? Let's just find out. Let's see what ChatGPT says. Let's do gemini.google.com. Let's do that one too, just to see. Specific context. Nope. Let's see, I found it here. This shopping list app. Repo. It's not literally word inside the app, meaning by a purchase. The GitHub repo is open source and self-hosted. Yeah, so about the word is coffin. In some West African languages of this, so your earliest idea about it meaning is consistent with the linguistic meaning, but the usage isn't connected to the GitHub repository. There's no documented linguistic meaning tied to the project name in the code or the README. It seems to be a project name chosen by the developer, not necessarily based on the West African word. Could be a play on coffee, cart, or something the developer liked, but the repository itself doesn't explain the language or region. Yep. If you were told in a real language context, that meaning refers to the GPE language. Would you like me? No, that's too much. That's funny. Skynet knows all, right? West African. So it's giving me same images here. I found it here. Let's see what this says. Trunk or chest, large suitcase. We ran into that. Likely plays on that imagery, dialect or slang in some language. Some Swedish context, older dialects, root, kop means the Old Norse kappa to buy. Developer origin. The creator of the repository, Pensalut, appears to be based in Poland. However, coffin sounds very much like a Swedish word. The Czech, the list, or a stylized version of the Swedish slang kata to eat. It's a catchy Swedish-sounding name for a shopping app in Swedish slang or casual speech. Adding an "and" to the end of a word is a common way to turn it into a definite noun to the shop or to purchase. Many Northern English, European languages, Swedish, Danish, Dutch, Norwegian, the root kop or kaup is universal foundation for buy or purchase. Interesting. Well, there we go. So we're getting kind of similar results there. Just interesting. This is how I get into rabbit holes, and it's why my brain is full of so many things that will never matter. Gosh, is that really the whole, that's their documentation? Visit the docs for more details. Interesting. So this is a different project. This is a dashboard with not much. Installation guide. Getting started. We've got a Docker. Config.yaml, background.jpg, interesting. Guess the dev is German. Yeah, I would think that based on like their username, but it doesn't say anything about him in here. There's like no links to him anywhere else other than here, which I just find interesting. But you know, it's cool. Like I got nothing. It takes all. I can't regurgitate it. Yeah. Mine is full of horrible 80s movie quotes. That's fair. Yeah, my wife and I are often speaking in quotes and scenarios from other shows when we're watching different things. And, you know, so-and-so would have handled it this way, or why wasn't this person there to handle this when they're not even in the same, you know, like universe or whatever. Yeah, we do a lot of that here as well. Roadmap. Features, modular design, easily add or remove widgets or customize your dashboard, secure backend. YAML configurations, responsive design, provides widgets for popular Homelab services like Buy-Whole, Docker, Getty, many more. Easily extend or easily extendable, integrate your own service by following the integration guide. That's cool. We haven't done a dashboard in a while. Maybe we'll do this one of these days here soon too. General configuration. Dashboard supports a smaller set of global configurations options. You can set the config section of the YAML. Interesting. I wonder, though, where did it go? Come on, take me back to here. Do we have a config? That's one of the other things. It's one of the other things that I've seen where it's like the Docker Compose will require a YAML file, but there isn't a YAML. Oh, there it is, dashboard.yaml. But that's not the config.yaml file. Plugins, widgets. So this is how we modify it. Data point, total up, interesting. Huh. The Joshua says, I'm late to the chat, saying folks using Arcane. How does it compare to Komodo? I think Komodo is much more like suited for larger deployments. For like multiple nodes and that sort of thing, where I'm not sure that Arcane is. I think Komodo is much more big picture than the others. It's from Poland, okay. Anyone know if the Portainer Docker issue has been resolved? I'm pretty sure it has. Like I just updated all of my stuff yesterday, just because somebody in a Proxmox forum post said that the issues had been resolved for the one specific thing that I ran into while trying to deploy this container. I haven't had any issues since. Everything has been working fine. Like if I come over to here, let's do this. And like, Yeah, this is the one we were logged into earlier. Everything seems to be working fine. Like I even updated a couple of containers while we were here. So Bob from Wick, it should be fixed based on what I've been able to see from here. That said, I haven't actually gone in here and updated my OS. So if I do, yeah, so I've got 64 packages that could be. Seems like it just spun up an LXC with Docker than the other week. Yeah, like I've had pretty good luck so far. Seems to be working okay. Haven't run into any issues. So, but always test first. Deploy something. I guess if you can't, if you got an extra piece of hardware, throw the new version of Proxmox on it and test it. That would be my suggestion. If you can't, Godspeed. I don't know. To Dockhand. I've heard people using Dockhand, Homelab, small business, enterprise. Homelab is free. Small business is $500 per year per host. It had better do a lot. It had better do a lot for that, especially when you can do Portainer for free if you really want to. Okay, Drum Tech Photo. I almost called you a potato. I apologize. Says, howdy. Yes, Portainer issues have been resolved with the latest update. Good. Thank you for clarifying or for confirming. Thank you. Appreciate that. Screenshots. This does do multiple nodes based on what I'm seeing here. We've got different IP addresses in here. That's 1.63, that's 6.238. Unraid, edge connection. So this, I guess, could in theory replace Portainer. I'd be wondering. I would wonder if the free version, Docker socket, Docker compose, they're free versus enterprise. This is what I was looking for. So unlimited environments, container and stack management, Git repository integration, vulnerability scanning, local user accounts, OID, CSSO, multi-factor authentication, and container activity log is all available and free. And of course, everything up from there. And then commercial usage license. So that's whatever. Premium support also no. Priority bug fixes no. LDAP, Active Directory no. That's only in the really expensive version. Role-based access control again. Environment scoped permissions, audit logging, and compliance. Price. Honestly, I think for the free version, they've done a really good job here as far as giving you the things that you need. This list of things here, especially with like OIDC and SSO, I've seen that locked behind a paywall. So real happy to see that all of that is available for free. I may have to check out Dockhand. Authentication is free. RBAC is enterprise. No calculator required. There you go. So this might be fun. Host one machine running Dockhand. Volume discounts available for 5+ hosts. Unlimited environments. Yeah, so you should be able to, in theory, deploy this and manage all of your different environments from one area, which would be really cool. I may have to check this out because that'd be pretty neat if I could do that. But yeah, so again, another one of those things that I definitely want to check out in an upcoming video. Nick Fed. All right. Yeah. Let's see, running Portainer on Unraid Synology Fedora 43, newest updates fixes issue. That's good. That's good to know. Thank you. And thank you for clarifying on all of those different platforms. That's super handy. Really appreciate it. Dockhand looks really cool. Solves my current issue. Thank you. Yeah. Like I haven't tested this yet, so I can't actually speak to how it works, but I think it's definitely something that I want to look at. I'd be curious about how the agents work. Because I really like the aesthetic. Look at the screenshots, which is farther down. We're going to look at this. Yep. Recent events. Like this looks pretty good. We've got dashboard, containers, logs, shells, stacks, images, volumes, networks, registry activities, schedules, and settings. I would be curious here what the process is for adding additional environments. Some of these other, because again, this one, they're showing a couple of different environments, and I'm wondering how they add an environment here. I don't see anything here that's like actively shouting like click here to add an environment, but that's the home dashboard. I don't know, but I think it'd be worth checking out because again, it looks like it's got a lot of good information. A lot of good information here. Self-hosted only, runs only on your infrastructure. No SaaS, no cloud dependency, no vendor lock-in. Your data never touches our servers. We don't phone home, so there's no usage tracking, no analytics, no mysterious background connections. Your Docker environment stays private. I'm super excited about that. And then SQLite or SQLite, by default, optional for Postgres or for high availability, no Redis, no message queues, simple deployment, SQL, or minimal attack surface. I appreciate that. Sorry, I keep getting hung up on this. The other day, or a while back, I made a video where I said, where I called this SQLite, and somebody was like, sequel to what? Like they were, I've always called this SQLite. I know some people call it SQLite. I've always called it SQLite. I've also always called it MySQL. And somebody, or maybe I said it was MySQL, and they're like, you're SQL to what? And there was some confusion there. So maybe I'm pronouncing this wrong. I would be curious, do you call it SQLite or MySQL, or do you call it MySQL or SQLite? I'd be curious about that, because that's something that I hadn't really thought about, but somebody was really confused when I said MySQL with regards to a database. Yeah, this looks fine. My only issue with Portainer is the interface. Not a fan. They're very much enterprise focused, obviously for the financial aspect of it. That said, they do have the community version, but I know that they are very much enterprise focused because that's where their money is. So. I've been a big fan of Portainer for a really long time. Portainer actually helped me learn how to deploy Docker containers. Some of my early videos, I would go in, I would demonstrate, go over here and click add container and then fill out all of, I'm not even showing my screen. We'd be here and I click on add container, put in your container name, put in the Docker image, add your additional ports, add your additional things here. Was it under advanced mode maybe? You put your environment variables in down here. Like this is how I learned to deploy Docker containers before I realized that you could use the stacks and deploy compose files here. But Portainer is one of those companies that will always have a bit of a soft spot in my heart because they are how I learned to deploy Docker containers. I've heard it called all those ways. Guess it's like a war on GIF versus GIF. Yeah, I still think that the inventor of that file format pronounced it the way he did as a trigger, just to keep the war going. Because again, it is graphical interface or interchange format or whatever. It is not graphical interchange format. So I feel like he had to have done it as a way to keep the war going. So I don't know. That's just my thought on it. Shane says, I learned using a very old version of Rancher. Portainer would have been even better to learn on than I learned to use Docker Compose, and that changed my life. Yeah, I actually tried to learn Rancher very early on as well, but found Portainer to be easier to learn on. You can get Portainer Business for free for max 3 nodes. Yeah, I've actually got that on my Synology. In fact, I got a message the other day saying that my enterprise license is expiring and I need to contact them to get that fixed. But but I haven't done that because I rarely ever log into that device. I've heard it called so many ways. I know what it is, or is being mentioned. Yeah, and that's kind of been my approach on it with what Jason said there. As far as I've heard it called so many things, I just know what it is. Yeah, Rancher taught me Kubernetes. That's awesome, and Portainer taught you Docker. And I think that was Rancher's thing was the Kubernetes side of things. I don't have a use for Kubernetes in my setup. It doesn't make sense in my brain to use an orchestration system like that to deploy a couple of Docker containers here and there. Portainer taught me Docker. Yeah, I'm still trying to learn Portainer. They've changed things a lot, but I still like it. I still use it. I still need to update to the newest version. I'm a bit behind. I'm on 3.3.1. I should be on 3.3.6. So I need to fix that. Let's see. I got started with self-hosting via Docker Portainer via an old playlist of start to finish, spinning up a Pi server with the red title cards. My old playlist. That's cool. Yeah, I really enjoyed making those, and then COVID hit, and Raspberry Pis didn't make sense anymore because they were unavailable and they were getting expensive, and then these mini PCs just started coming out of the woodworks. So for the price of a Raspberry Pi, you can get a low-powered, not one of these, but you can get a low-powered mini PC and have a Homelab set up in no time at all that is more compatible, higher powered than a Raspberry Pi. I think Raspberry Pi still have their place from different things. Like it runs this TV. I still need to do something different with that, but. Raspberry Pis were great until COVID, and then they just kind of fell off, in my opinion, because these mini PCs got dirt cheap for the most part, or I don't know if I can get this off. Man, I don't have a tool for that, or do I? No. Man, I really need to spend a day out here one of these days and clean my desk, my entire studio area is a mess. Is that gonna work? Damn it, that's not gonna work. But I got this Zima blade in this 3D printed enclosure thing that I made. That was dirt cheap and more powerful than a Raspberry Pi. For a while, really wanted to get more RAM in here because it's only got 8 gigs of DDR3. LPDDR3, I think. But even then it was expensive to find RAM that was compatible with it. And now I can't even imagine trying to find RAM at a price that wouldn't cause you to have to pull out a mortgage on your home. I'm genuinely shocked by the prices that we're seeing on some of this stuff. Just, it's gross that certain people and or companies were able to basically purchase in advance almost all of the upcoming RAM and storage because they've got that much money available to them that they're just like, no, all of that's mine for the next however many years. And then the foundries and the companies that make this stuff were like, yeah, no, we'll make most of the world suffer, so like 5 different people can have access to all of our upcoming stock. Like really, really grossed out that is a thing. And then Micron decided to shut down Crucial, that has been kind of at the forefront of everything. With good quality RAM for the consumer for years now, and they're just like, nah, we're gonna shift all of our efforts over to AI as well, and screw the consumer, the regular consumer. It's gross that the people that have been giving them their money for so long were just disposable to them. I don't understand how a company can do that. Yeah, follow the money is absolutely right. It's just like, if you want, I don't know, like Nvidia's screwing people. They're screwing their board partners. They're screwing the consumer. They're screwing absolutely everybody so that they can be the AI powerhouse. And it's fine. It's whatever, have at. I'm so grossed out that these people that have more than they'll ever know what to do with, just have free reign to do whatever they want, while the rest of us can screw ourselves, basically. Sorry, I really wanted to get that out. I forgot what a cute little device this is. Should really find a use for it. I just don't know what I would do with it. Let me know. What should I do with this? Other than send it to you. I should find a use for it. Again, I don't know what it would be. Oops. Ooh. Put that back in there. That there. That there. There we go. One of these days I'll get this mess cleaned up. It's not going to be today probably. Put that over there. I'm sure that won't fall over and scare me. Let's see. So nice to be able to roll back a glitchy server too. Yeah. Capitalism. My dad used to say money walks and bullshit. Yeah. I was lucky to buy 64 gigs of DDR5 2 months ago for just a little over $100. Yeah. That's it. And it happened so fast. I agree. It's crappy to treat basically the entire planet outside of I just send it to me, please. Right. Right on that. Yeah. I was going to buy a new computer this year, but nope. Wait for memory to go down. And it may be a while. Like, it really may be a while because everybody now that, in fact, I wonder, let's look this up. I'm curious. So over to here, we're going to do 64 GB DDR5. Yeah, there you go. $900, $500, $400 for 60. Oh, geez. Hold on. Okay, those are both 64 gigs. $400 for a 32 gig kit. Again, DDR. Oh, so this is SODIMM. $500 for 64 gigs. 64 gigs, $500. Like DDR. And so 64 gigs, 4x16 for $300. 23 bids on that. Blows my mind. Just blows my friggin' mind that just that quickly everybody's like, oh well, watch me screw everybody too. You can buy SODIMM adapters. Yeah, I'd be wary about that though. I don't think I would want to do that if I didn't have to. I bought 256 grams for my backup server in January for $172. Now it's $1,100. Jeez. The governments weren't getting kickbacks from these a-holes. They'd be investigating them every which way from the Senate. It's absolutely right. Yep. You can buy SODIMM adapters. Yeah, but scalpers are scumbags. I agree. And scalpers are everywhere. Everywhere from graphics cards to RAM to Pokemon cards. Like, just blows my mind that people are so exploitative of others. It makes me sick. I just don't understand how people can be like that. All right. Well, let's come back over to here. Let's see if there's anything else good going on over here. Let's scroll back up to the top. Scalable Artifact Repository Manager. I don't know what that sentence means. Morgo, Artifact Repository Manager, free to Nexus, JFrog, etc. Saw a story somewhere last night. NVIDIA now saying they can't get RAM for some of their stuff. So there goes NVIDIA GPUs. Yes, well, even more than that, I saw a thing recently. I think it was Jay's 2 cents that was talking about how typically the way it's been for a while is that, obviously NVIDIA will create the chip and give the basic board design to their board partners. That includes the chip, the design, and the RAM. And then, of course, the board partners can then manipulate that however it makes it unique to them, and there you go. But apparently, they stopped providing the memory chips to their board partners, so the smaller board partners aren't able to get the RAM for their own devices, their own NVIDIA devices. So the smaller board partners aren't able to do that as well. And they'll probably go out of business as well, because when you've got everybody, all of the big names buying up all of the chips, because they can buy in such bulk that they can say, if you don't give me this many, then I won't. It sucks. Everybody's getting priced out of everything, even at the corporate level for some of the smaller, and it's so gross. If you don't have, $50 billion to spend, then you don't matter to a lot of these companies, and I just hate it. Like, if it wasn't for us, the consumers, some of these companies wouldn't even be in doing their thing, and they're just like, yeah, you guys were a means to an end. Now you can kick rocks. Samsung is refusing to sell RAM to Samsung. That's outstanding. The fact that it is under scrutiny by the government tells you everything that you need to know. Yeah, because the politicians are most likely getting their pockets lined, with let's call it what it is, with bribes, because it's a luxury trip to here, or like here's another vacation home for you, or here's that expensive watch that you always wanted but didn't want to buy for yourself, or whatever it happens to be, just so that they can continue to do things that aren't great for the vast majority of people. When it only affects, when the top 5 people in the world can have something that benefits them, then that's what happens. And that's not hyperbole. That's not tinfoil hat stuff. We've seen it time and time again. If you have enough money, you can do whatever you want. And if you don't, then it sucks to suck. Right. The funny thing about it is, once none of us have computers, there'll be no need for massive AI, because no one will have what they need to access it. The whole thing is so short-sighted. I agree with that. The government is getting their cut. Yep. They'll never create problems as long as the money flows in the correct pockets. That's exactly right. And it's not just the United States. It's happening all over the place. But like Apple recently gave Trump a 2-kilo gold bar with his name etched into it, and all of a sudden all of their stuff went through. So it's bribery, plain and simple. That's all it is. But it's labeled as something else so that it's not technically bribery. I fucking hate it, man. It's dumb. Oh, let's see. I think they'll replace home PCs with subscribing to cloud hardware and OS. Permanently pay and own nothing. Yeah, and Windows has actually tried that. Where you would pay for a subscription and just basically get a computer connected device, Windows internet connected device on subscription. What was that called? There was a device, and I can't think of what it was called. Connected device. Man, I may have to. Let's look at this. What was the? Let's look. The Windows 365 link. That was the one. Announced in late 2024 and released in 2025, it's Microsoft's first dedicated hardware piece designed specifically for the Windows 365 subscription service. That's what it was. And it wouldn't surprise me at all if this eventually became the norm. But I will absolutely fight it for as long as I possibly can. You cannot use the Windows link or the 65 link as a standalone computer to make it functional. You must have an active Windows 365 subscription, which provides the virtual cloud PC it connects to. The device itself is typically sold to businesses for around $349, but the ongoing value comes from the per user monthly subscription. Yeah, home computer as a service is exactly what it is. Let's see, is it even still a thing? Is this still an actual thing? Yep, sure is. Holy cow. Yep, and it's just a little device that sits on your desk and connects remotely, which means if your internet goes down, you can't even you can't use it if there's no internet. It just seems like such a bad idea. Pay forever and own nothing ever. Yeah. It's and it's an ongoing issue. It's why it's why so many people recently online have talked about how, or why rather, piracy is making a comeback. Because if I buy something, if I pay for something, then I should be able to do what I want with it. Why is this being stupid over here? Oh, okay, whatever, weird. And it's why I got rid of Netflix. It's why I got rid of Hulu. It's why I got rid of so many different services, because I don't want to pay for something forever. I've got no problem buying or paying for a game if I can have it work when the developer decides they don't want to maintain it anymore. If I buy a movie, I should be able to watch it whenever I want, whether it's on Amazon or Netflix or whatever. If I've paid you the $30 for it, just because you lost the license doesn't mean I should lose the license. But of course, in their terms and conditions, it's what it says. You only get to have it as long as they have the license. Well, why am I paying you for it if it's going to come off of your platform as soon as you lose license? It'd be free to watch it. It's so maddening that these companies are getting away with this stuff, because again, they're lining the right pockets. Someone will hack / reverse engineer that Windows device. The thing is, I don't think it's got any hardware in it that's worth anything. Windows 365 hardware specs. Yeah, Intel 250, 8 gigs of LPDDR5 RAM, 65 gig UFS storage, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, multiple ports, USB, HDMI, DisplayPort. So it's not even like it would be a good Homelab device, but outside of that, you can barely get online with that. Like it's just to connect to a remote device that does the actual work. So it would make a good Homelab device, a very good low power Homelab device, probably 35 watts or something, at most. Let's see, if we take this, oops, you can't even see my screen, I apologize. Base power, 6 watts on the N250. What is the max power, max TTP on that? Did I scroll past it? Probably. Oh, yay, she brought me tea. Thank you. I'm going to let you set that down because it's going to be hot. Thank you. Appreciate you. Love you too. Now I have Ninja Turtles. I had to have scrolled past it. There it is. Yeah. Processor base power, 6 watts. Right there. It doesn't say what it power or what its top end is. Let's look up max TDP. Max TDP. Oh, you know what I meant. Oh, a max TDP of 6 watts. Really? Wow. Oh, up to 15 watts. So, yeah. So call it 30 watts for your mouse, your keyboard. Call it 45 watts at max usage. Call it 45 watts. So make a great low power device for a Homelab. But as far as doing anything else, it's not worth anything, and that's just gross. Let me see. I scrolled up. I'll quit computing when it gets to the point that that's all that's left. Yeah, pay for everyone, nothing. Chat control in the EU. I don't know anything about that. Let me take a look. What is chat control is a common name for the controversial EU proposal aiming to fight CSAM by matching tech platforms scan messages for illicit content, but it really use client-side scanning. The critics say break-in and encryption mandates mass surveillance and threatens fundamental privacy rights to all users. Though recent negotiations have seen efforts to protect encryption and focus on risk-based measures rather than universal scanning. I understand what their goal is. at this level. If they are actually trying to detect and remove this, then more power to them. But if in order to do that, they have to scan your entire system and see what's on it, yeah, I don't doubt that's got people pissed off. I just refuse and won't do it. I'll quit and spend the rest of my life outdoors. I have thought about just digging a hole in the middle of the wilderness or finding a cave and just being like, this is me now. Yep, chat controls a government backdoor access to all communication. Yep, that's basically what we were just saying here. So yeah, remember stuff like NetPliance, Eye-Opener, and the 3Com Audrey. I don't remember that. It will be abused. Absolutely. Guilty until proven innocent. Yep. And that seems to be how things are going. It is very much switched, and it sucks. Like, it really sucks that we're at such a point in life or in the world, and because it's happening everywhere. Yeah. Protecting children is just the sales pitch, and you're exactly right. They will use that as a way to monitor everything you're doing. When the Patriot Act was enacted, I think in 2001, Patriot Act. It was a direct result. The passed after 9/11. It was meant to be so that they could, keep tabs on bad guys, but then they just started using it to scan anybody they wanted to, whenever they wanted to. If they could tell, or if they could make a claim that they thought you were a threat, now they can just scan you, and they can do that to whoever they want. Any of the dissenters get so you don't want to protect our children? Yeah, it's stupid. I absolutely hate that that governments all over the world are finding ways to manipulate people emotionally to get them to agree to things that they wouldn't have agreed to if they actually knew what the actual intent was. I said actually there a lot, and I apologize. But the problem is, here's something to consider, and this isn't my own original thought here, but if you think about the people that you know, think of the dumbest person you know, and I'm not trying to be rude here, but I want you to just, and I don't mean somebody who is mentally disabled, right? I'm talking about just your average person, the dumbest person you know. Roughly half of the world is dumber than that person, on average. And the other half is, of course, then smarter than that person, right? So it doesn't surprise me that so many people are just like, oh, well, they said that they're going to do it this way, so that's how they're going to do it. No, that's not right. But they don't have the aptitude or the fortitude or the comprehension to actually do the research and understand it for themselves. They will see something that is very obviously a lie or is satire, and will be like, oh, well, that's absolutely the truth. And we've seen people in our own government share things from satire sites as though it were real, and then their followers retweet or retruth or whatever this thing that was obviously satire if you read the bottom of the website that says this website is satire. And they don't have the comprehension skills to understand that, oh, this thing that they just agreed to is very much going to be the leopard that bites their face. And then when it does bite their face, they're like, but I didn't vote for my face to get bit. And again, this isn't just a thing happening in the United States. This is happening all over the world. When you've got these corrupt extremists, again, on both sides of the aisle, there are extremists on both sides. But when you get these people that are putting these laws into place that are so overreaching, that are so deliberately worded to be as vague as possible, to expand into places that it shouldn't have expanded to, and nobody is smart enough, and I say nobody, most people aren't smart enough to do the research to understand what they just agreed to or what they just voted for. If you look at the trend for the word tariff after the election, tariff got searched a lot after our last election. because people didn't understand what tariffs were. They're just like, they heard this guy be like, oh, tariffs are going to make the United States billions of dollars. And then prices went up and they're like, oh, but why did all the prices go up? I thought we weren't, it's like you got lied to and you were too dumb to realize it. And it sucks. And it sucks that we're in such a place that the literacy rate in America is like 6th or 7th grade reading level. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I was at a 6th and 7th grade reading level in 2nd grade. Like I started reading very, very early. I was reading Stephen King books when I was like 9 years old, which explains a lot. But when the average reading level in America is like 6th or 7th grade, that's scary to me, and it should be scary to anybody else out there. I know several dumb people that I love very much, but they just don't get it, and I'm not sure that they can. And that's exactly right. That's exactly right. Majority of those laws are being presented by 70-year-olds that can hardly understand how mobile phones work. In the EU, one of the persons defending the law, her training is in music. Yeah. The head of our Department of Education was the CEO for the World Wrestling Federation. And she's like, we need to get rid of we need to get rid of my department. We don't need the Department of Education anymore. And she's the example of why we need the Department of Education. So I didn't mean to get off on a political rant here, but again, I know it's not just happening here in the United States. It's happening everywhere. Like Vaz said, that these laws are being presented by 70-year-olds that can hardly understand. Like, yeah, when you have people asking Mark Zuckerberg, well, how do you make money if we're not paying for your service? Bro, have you not seen sponsored posts? Or when they interviewed the CEO from TikTok, they're like, so does your app connect to my Wi-Fi when I'm at home? Well, yeah, dumbass, how else is it going to work? Like these are the people making laws about technology when they don't understand technology even in the slightest. But it's important to have these really unqualified people in place so that they can be taken advantage of by the people who will line their pockets appropriately to get their laws passed, so that we can't make laws about AI for 10 years, so that we can't make laws about these different things, or the laws go the wrong way that only helps the business and not the people. We need these people who are ignorant to these topics to be in charge of these topics so that the system can be exploited to its fullest extent. And I really, really hate that that's how things are. But I can't imagine it going back. I can't imagine that we're going to be able to undo all of this in any kind of timely fashion, even if we get new people in place. We've got these people coming into power who are just like, oh, well, we're gonna break everything constantly, so quickly, so frequently, so that you can't keep up with it. We're gonna have a new distraction for everything every day, and it's impossible for everybody to keep up, and it's terrifying that it's going to take us years to fix it. And again, this isn't just the United States. This is happening all over the place. But it seems very much like a concerted effort that all of these high officials in all of these different countries are doing all of these things all together at the same time in order to make things better for themselves and no one else. So there's your rant, I guess. Let's see. I'm sorry. I'm going back over to here. I'm gonna get my heart rate up. I'm gonna get my blood pressure up. I think the difference on education country, there's a certain amount of difference in education and country, but there's also certain situations where you've got educated people trying to do the right thing and they can't because they're surrounded by idiots who will ask them questions about, like, well, why do I need to connect to my phone to the Wi-Fi to watch this? Because they just genuinely don't understand. And it's really gross that certain people have been deliberately put in positions of authority under or for things that they genuinely have no experience with. It's so gross. Oh, let's see. What else do we have here? Sorry, I gotta take a moment here. We've got Bitify that we can't talk about. We've got Blockbuster that we can't talk about. Do not ghost me, privacy-aware method for tracking ghosting in the hiring process. That's an interesting idea. Hopefully I won't ever have to use that. Docker Swarm Visualizer. I love the idea, but I don't use Docker Swarm. Dockhand, we've talked about a little bit here. DocMate, which is a terminal-based Docker container manager. I don't like doing that kind of stuff terminal. Like in the terminal, this is like a visualized terminal thing. I want to see a picture. Yep. It looks good. I'll give it that. But I like to have a GUI. I just do. Yeah, we've been defunding education in the United States since I was born. Yeah. Let's see. MB Wrapped. Spotify Wrapped style year in review for MB. That's kind of cool. I feel like Plex also had something like that. I don't remember if they still do or not. I haven't seen it pop up in any of my stuff. Game Shelf lightweight read-only LAN-based game library. Interesting. Email API for developers. IP Remember Me. Whitelist IPs in Athelia after successful logins for dumb clients. That's kind of cool. Kami Yomu. Extensible manga crawler and scanner. Can't talk about that. Coffin. We've talked about a little bit. Modular Homelab dashboard. Again, not sure about that one, but we may talk about that at some point in an upcoming video. Musavault, beautiful web app for cataloging and exploring CD and vinyl collections. That's interesting. Oh, so this is just like an inventory manager, I think, with statistics and insights. Yeah, I think this is just a cataloger. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't do vinyl though. I guess CD. I don't have either CDs or vinyls. Mylar Mobile PWA front end for Mylar 3. I've never used Mylar 3, so I don't know what that is. Newsku RSS aggregator with LLM prioritized feeds. I'm not a fan of that. Cloud-based open short.link, Cloudflare-based URL shortener. Interesting. Pixelo Darkroom, high-performance image processing microservices for self-hosted image pipelines. Relic, Pastebin and artifact storage system designed for developers. Pictures. Oh, that's kind of cool. Title, type, auto detect. You can add files. That's actually pretty cool. So you can share artifact storage. It goes beyond simple text storage by storing binary files, archives, images, providing rich previews for various content types with a focus on immutability and versioning. Relic ensures your shared snippets and files are safe, trackable, and easy to manage. That's actually really cool. We're going to have to take a look at that too. I like this. It's a modern feature-rich artifact service with mutable relics, complete with version history and smart content processing, built with fast API Python, Svelte, and Tailwind CSS. Definitely have to take a look at that one. Self-hosted metrics, privacy-first telemetry for self-hosted software. It's an interesting idea. When you distribute self-hosted software on-premise, you fly blind. You don't know how many instances are running, which versions are active, or if your features are actually used. Solves this with lightweight, secure approach. Privacy-first collects aggregate counters, never user content agnostic. Send any JSON payload. The dashboard adapts automatically. Secure, every request is signed with a key pair for the client. Zero config dashboard. Single go binary with embedded UI. No front-end build required. It's an interesting idea. And, I don't know. It's an interesting idea, I guess. Nipo, lightweight snippet manager for single user deployments. Got another RStack we can't talk about. Unified Time Machine, easy to create time-lapse videos from Unify Protect cameras. That's kind of neat. You're using Tracer, streaming access manager for media servers to identify account sharing. Oh, but Thinks everything is local. That's not good. That's not helpful at all. If it thinks everything is local. Universal database backup, universal Reddit scraper, updates to MQTT, Docker container update notifications. Oh, okay. And then Vault Certs Viewer, lightweight interface for listing and inspecting Vault certificates. We've got recently discovered. We've got Edit Mine and AI-powered video indexing and search, lightweight wiki documentation generator, Farron, fast memory safe web server written in Rust. We've got Gmail Cleaner. I should probably do that. My Gmail's blown up. Are you going to do a video at DocHand? Probably. I'm gonna probably check it out this week. It'll probably be after the first of the year. I've got some more hardware stuff I want to cover, depending on how fast that stuff gets here. And I've got a few different videos that I want to make. I think because like some of these, like Relic will be a fairly quick and easy video to make. Probably not going to do that one. That was Watchtower. I've got a couple of different things in here that I'm going to make content about that'll be easier. But what I will probably do is install DocHand and test it out in my real environment, so that I can actually validate that it does what it says it does. I'm sure it does if they're charging as much as they are for the SMB and enterprise stuff. But again, lots of good stuff in the free edition. So that's what I want to test. I want to make sure that everything works the way it goes or the way it's supposed to. So that video will be coming. It just might be a couple of weeks, probably after the first of the year. Media management platform, and then Relatical modern client relationship management. Interesting. What is this? Open source CRM platform written in. Okay. Show me pictures. Interesting. Perfect for Laravel developers, agencies, SMB who need a modern CRM they can customize and self-host. It's a powerful, adaptable CRM platform built for teams who have outgrown spreadsheets but find Salesforce overkill. Unlike SaaS CRMs that lock your data into the cloud, Relatical gives you a complete control with self-hosting, unlimited customization through our no-code custom field system. Wow. Fully customizable, multi-team support, modern technology, privacy-focused, open source. Cool. That might actually be a good one to cover as well. I really should be using a CRM just to help me stay more organized, but I've always found most of them to be way, way too much. So I might have to take a look at that as well. That's pretty cool. This isn't Ethan's fault, but this is one of the first self-host newsletters that I have found to actually have a lot of stuff in it that I'm super interested in. So Shane says he's got to run. Thanks for fellow citizens. Have a Merry Christmas if you celebrate. I'll catch you guys after the holiday. Have a good one. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being here, Shane. So yeah, I think, again, one of the issues that I've had with, and again, not Ethan's fault, right? He's just reporting what's available. But so many apps are just like, here's a bunch of our stack related stuff, or here's a bunch of media server related stuff, because that's what was available when he made the newsletter. But I'm seeing a lot of other stuff in here that I really am kind of excited about. So definitely going to take a look at some of this. Relic, definitely. It looks like a pretty cool project there. DocHand, definitely. And then again, Relatical, I'll probably make a video on as well. So yeah, I've got some content coming up. And again, that's in addition to some of the hardware stuff that's coming as well. I think we talked about this last week a little bit, but one of the things that I'm trying to focus on with my content, at least I'm going to try to make this more better, is I've been doing these Docker container tutorials for years now, and I've kind of fell into a rut. So I've got to change up how I'm approaching these things. I very much want, rather than be like, here's a Docker container, here's how to install it, thanks for watching. That gets very, very boring. So I want to start finding how to solve problems, right? That's why I've been doing the Home Assistant tablet stuff recently, the dashboards. Those have helped me solve problems in my own home. And I want to make sure that the containers that I'm actually covering help me solve problems in my own home. Um, SV Peters, thank you so much. That's really nice of you. Thank you for that. Appreciate it. For donating 5 gift memberships. That's really awesome. See, the Gladiator Max says, question, does AI level up your home or your self-hosting at Homelab? Yeah, absolutely. The video that I did this week with like the dashboards that I built for my kid was very much, I spent a lot of time using, bouncing back and forth between Claude and Gemini to help me build out the dashboards and kind of tweak them so that things worked better. I've been using AI to help me with several things periodically in my home lab to make them work better, to help me understand things, to help me tweak things to get things to work better. Absolutely use it to help me do better in my home lab. I also use it to help me with my scripts, like my video scripts for here on the channel. I will write out all of the information in kind of a script format to the best of my ability. The problem is I'm not a good storyteller. I ramble a lot. I am kind of all over the place when I write my scripts. And what I'll do is I'll go into whichever service. I'll be like, hey, look, I've got this script that I'm working on, and I need help kind of consolidating it, making it more flow better, be more engaging. I need help with these things. So I'm going to give you that, but I need you to interview me about the script so that we can put out the best product. And so I'll say all of that. I'll upload my script, and then the AI that I'm using will ask me questions about different aspects of what I was talking about. It'll ask me, questions that I hadn't thought about, like what was the biggest struggle you ran into? What was your biggest, eureka moment? What was the thing you liked the most? What was the thing you liked the least? It'll ask me all these different questions, and it's different questions every time. I don't actually give it a script of what to ask me, and then it'll take a minute or whatever and give me its version. I'm like, cool. So I'll read through it, and I'll be like, okay, well, I like this, but this is wrong. We need to edit this. I don't like the way this flows, and we'll kind of work back and forth on it. And I'll take that, and then fix it, make it more my voice than just the standard thing. So I use AI quite a bit to help me with code and writing, and it really has helped me kind of stay on focus with my videos. So yeah. Oh man, an ultraviolet aurora says, "Hey, I'm the dev behind Jellify, which I think is way at the bottom. If you have any questions about the project, please let me know." Was it down there? Probably is. Jotty. Oh yeah, here we go. Meet Jellify, the cross-platform music player for Jellyfin. With Jellify, users can easily stream their music on the go from the comfort of a modern interface that places heavy emphasis on the library artwork, similar to popular hosted streaming services. Features include themes, music discovery, playback, reporting, playlist management, offline playback, instant mixes, Google Cast support with gapless playback, and Android Auto CarPlay support on the way. That's actually really cool. I don't use Jellyfin or Jellify. That said, I use Plex, but I don't use Plex Amp. I'm still stuck on Spotify. I know there's some stuff going on there. My wife and I have been paying for Spotify for so long, we never got the ads about, hey, you should join this government agency. Yeah. You talked about it a while ago. We've changed a lot since then. I probably did. Jellyfin. Did I talk about Jellyfin? Man, I made a video on Jellyfin. When was that? That was so long ago. Come on. February 14th, 2020 is when I made a video about jellyfin. That's crazy. That video brought me 365 subscribers. Huh. Actually, a new one just the other day, about a month ago, I guess. That's crazy. Yeah, God, that was back when I was still using Open Media Vault 5. Yeah, I bet a lot of things have changed since. And I haven't checked out Jellyfin in a long time. I kind of went back and forth between Plex. I started with Plex and I moved to Emby, and then I started having issues with Emby, and then I went back to Plex. I used Jellyfin a little bit when I made the video about it almost 6 years ago, but haven't really touched it since then. I know a lot of people like Jellyfin. The thing is, at least for me, I like Plex because it makes it easy for other people to access my library. I've only got like 2 other people outside my house that use it, but trying to get somebody outside the house to use Emby was really difficult. It could be done, but it was really difficult. And with Plex, with the Plex Pass, it made it a lot easier. And the app on Plex, like on our TVs, is better, in my opinion, than what I saw with Emby or Jellyfin back in the day. That said, Plex really screwed the pooch, so to speak, on the Roku app. For the Plex Roku app, really screwed that up bad recently. They kind of fixed it after a couple of weeks because a lot of people were really angry, and the lead developer on it was just like, screw you guys, we're going to do what we want. But they did come to a compromise and found something that's better than it was, but still not great compared to the way it used to be. But I get it. People got to change things to justify their position in a company. So whatever. But yeah, haven't touched Emby or Jellyfin in a really long time, just because Plex works, and I'm terrified to try to switch to something else. Try it again. Let us know. Plex is easier for sharing media for $250. Yeah, you can get the lifetime license on a deal every once in a while. I think they recently had one. Plex lifetime license. The premium pass here. Come on, choose your path. Lifetime, yeah, it's $250. But again, sometimes we'll just pop this up. Like there's the monthly option as well for $7, annual for $70, or lifetime for $249. You can also do the remote watch pass if you want to stream it anywhere. But again, sometimes they will have sales on that lifetime pass. So, and look, I know I'm in a privileged position, right? Like years ago, that I'll even tell you basically exactly when it happened. Plexamp. When was this? Yeah, January of 2021. I wanted to make a video about Plexamp. But in order to use Plexamp, you have to have a Plex Pass. So I reached out to Plex and I was like, hey, look, I got this channel. I make videos about self-hosted stuff. I really want to cover Plexamp, but I don't have a license. Could you give me a temporary license for Plexamp so I could test it out and share it? And they just like gifted me a lifetime Plex Pass. So I didn't realize that it was going to last beyond that until like a year or two later. It was crazy. For Homelabbers, it's easy to use to share it. Look at Whizzer. Here's the thing. I can't touch the R stack at all. Was it Wiz R? Yeah. If it's got R in the name, the dipsticks at YouTube will immediately flag the video and tell me that I am promoting dangerous acts. It's happened to me. It's happened to others for even talking about Plex or whatever. So I've been real cautious about media stuff since all of that started popping up within the last year or so. So I got to be careful. Like, I'm not saying no. I'm saying I'll consider it. Yeah. To which AIs do you usually use? What do you recommend? So honestly, I jump between ChatGPT, Gemini, and Claude, and I use the free version of all of them. So yeah, I jump back and forth because sometimes I'll get real close to what I want, but I can't figure out how to fix an issue, say like in a script or something. And script is dual meaning, whether it's a script for my videos, like it's something I will say at the camera, or like when I was working on the video for the Plex tablet thing that released this week. There were things that I wanted to see if I could do with that Home Assistant dashboard. So I was kind of bouncing back and forth, or bouncing between all three of those, just to see which one would give me a solution that worked. None of them did, but I managed to kind of make a hodgepodge mess of what I was given and get it to work. Yeah, those are the three that I use. I know there are others out there, but those are the three that I use. So, people really think I should try Jellyfin again, huh? Jellyfin. I might take a look at it again. I'm so scared that the YouTube will screw me if I do that. Just because they've got such a history of doing that. So I don't know. It's a scary place for me. I think ChatGPT Pro 5.2 has improved a lot. I would hope so if it's the Pro version. But yeah, like I had, when I set up Posties, I realized that's how you pronounce it, not Posties, to help me with some of my social media postings so that I can schedule things out like weeks in advance for social media posts. I had OpenAI attached to that, and I threw like $5 at it that lasted. I think I've still got a couple of bucks on there. But that's really the only time I've ever really paid for AI. I don't want to give them my money if I don't have to. So I don't. Oops. But yeah, no, big fan. Honestly, I'm a big fan of AI. The way I use it, and look, I know that's me saying if you're doing it my way or you're not doing it my way, you're wrong, sort of. But I don't think you should be creating content with it. I don't think you should be, monetizing videos or like AI slop videos. I don't think you should get monetized for that. I don't think you should be writing or doing that thing that they do where they're like making shorts. The whole thing is AI, the script, the voice, the video, all of it's AI, and racking up hundreds of thousands or millions of views for no effort. I think that takes away from actual creators who are doing things, because most of those videos are full of lies or just unfounded garbage, and I hate that. But I feel confident enough to say that I use it for helping me write scripts. I use it to help me fix my code if I'm doing something in a dashboard. But I don't ever publish anything that is AI generated. So yeah, that's my soapbox, I suppose. Let's see what else we got over here. Let's come back over to here. Okay, so that is Jellify. Yeah, Gladiator, I agree. Self-hosting, home labbing is a hobby. There is no wrong. It's all about learning for me. Yeah, that's the same thing. And I love that using Home Assistant, I can actually help my kid. With giving him the autonomy to choose his own shows. He doesn't have the fine motor skill to use a remote. So now he can just go in and tap a picture on the tablet under his TV, and that show will start playing in a few seconds. So to give him that kind of autonomy really means a lot to me from a Homelab and self-hosting perspective. Using Home Assistant, I was really against Home Assistant for a while, but again, that was that was a conflict of interest that I had with somebody that I was talking to in a live stream years ago. Luckily, a couple of guys, my mods in Discord were like, no, you should do this. You should look at it. But now Home Assistant like literally runs my home. Like I've got a button to turn the lights on and off in here. When you walk in my bedroom, lights come on. Certain times of the day, different lights come on and off automatically. The lights turn off automatically at a certain time in my bedroom. I've got all of these different little things that I'd have no other way to do without some version of Home Assistant. And I'm really, really happy that I did because it's really made a big difference in my own home. So really happy about that. Except some music. Yeah, like there's some that like, I think there was one live stream that I started with an AI song that I thought was funny. The people were like, hey, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, no, you're probably right. And I don't. Like the music that I, like if I do this, if I click my BRB button, like that music that was playing right there, I actually commissioned that music. There's a musician online that I really like. And I was like, hey, can I ask you to make some custom music for my channel and pay you for that? And he did, and it's been great. So, and I know, and knowing him as well as I do online anyway, and the music that he makes, I know that there was no AI involved in that because this is pre-Suno or Suna, whatever the music generating app that's so popular. It was before that. So, random question, is the Proxmox 8 to 9 upgrade smooth now? When 9 launched, there were some issues. I actually did mine on live stream, I think. Or maybe it was my test server I did on live stream. And it was kind of wonky at the time. I haven't had any issues with it since, so I'm hoping that it's better now. But each system's going to be different depending on what you've got installed. What kind of things you've got involved. And that's why I never made a video about it, because each person's upgrade process is going to be, is going to be different because of the way they've got things set up. Yep, that's right. That's right. That AI music before that one stream. Yeah, it was just a stupid self-hosting song that I generated through Suno or whatever it was called. And people were right to call me on it. And I immediately was like, yep, you're right. And I shut it off and went back to the music that I had commissioned, that I actually paid for, that I own the exclusive rights to. So, but here's another thing, right? There was another song from that same musician that I used with his permission, that I'd used as the intro song. They got claimed by somebody else because he had sampled their music. The person or the company that claimed it, like the clip that had been used or sampled was like 15, 20 years old. And they were just like, oh, we're going to take all of your revenue for that. And I was like, nope, I'm just going to cut out that intro bit then. And it was fine. But even then, you got to be careful about using music from people who sampled somebody else's music, because they can get you on that sample as well. So at this point, I only use music that I have exclusive rights to use. I've had companies reach out to me to be like, hey, if you use our music, then we'll do like a revenue split with you or whatever. And I'm just like, no. Why would I give you half of my video's revenue if I can just use my own music and keep all of the revenue? Like, I'm not going to give you the $4 or whatever that my video made to use music of yours. I just, dumb. I hate it. So anyway, that's why you rarely ever hear music in my videos anymore. I just don't want to deal with the headache of some dipstick trying to claim my music because of some gotcha thing. So I just don't. So yeah, I think the automatic container image, weird. So anyway, I think that's it. I think that kind of covers all of that as far as the self-host newsletter this week, as far as new apps anyway. And I can feel my voice starting to go. So I think we're going to start getting out of here. I want to thank everybody who hung out with us today. Whether you were a chatter or a lurker, I appreciate you being here and watching the content and being part of the community. I genuinely do appreciate that. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't be able to have as much free time as I do and the flexibility that I do in what I'm doing here. So. Gupta Madras, we actually covered Coffin for quite a while earlier in the stream. So thank you for sharing it, but we talked about it for quite a while. I'm actually implementing it in my home so my wife and I can use it. And I'm going to be making a video on it here pretty soon. So, but thank you again for the shout out there to let me know just in case. I appreciate that. But yeah, thank you guys to everybody for hanging out with me today. Really appreciate you guys. Thank you to everybody for donating the subscriptions. That's super awesome. It helps me out a lot. So yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend. If you celebrate, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year's and all that, I'm sure there will be another live stream soon and a video this week. So hopefully you guys will check that out. Anyway, take care of yourselves. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.